Today, I am joined by WCIA 3's meteorologist Adam Sherwinski, and he has a weather-related experiment to share that you can do at home. Welcome back to ciLiving.
Welcome back. I always feel like we do something fun on ciLiving here, too. You know,
you always do. You bring me such great things.
Yes, so this is kind of your own. You can do this at home, and I think it's more of an entertainment than it is an experiment at this point for the kids at home, but your own little tornado machine. I usually have a pet tornado that I keep in my backpack. I usually show off for like school talks and stuff.
Right.
I can't seem to find it. I hope it hasn't gotten loose out there. But
does your pet tornado have a name?
No. It's just my pet tornado. So it's a little tiny thing that, you know, you spin around and it turns into a tornado. And the kids go, whoa! And it's like actually not that cool. But something cool is that we saw, you know, you can make your own little tornado, obviously, with this, and we'll talk about this a little bit more coming up. But you can, it's not as cool as the one I saw when I was at the research center, though, over in Norman, Oklahoma, at the Storm Prediction Center, right across the street at the research facility. Take a look at that real quick.
That's a pretty cool video.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? And so it was its own kind of homemade, not homemade, but it was a really big structure for that tornado with the vapor and everything.
What is that structure? It almost looked like one of those money machines where you grab all the dollars you can grab.
No, it's just a tornado machine just to kind of, you know, do some more scientific research with it because, again, Norman's like one of the big spots for weather research. I don't know if you know that. That's where the Storm Prediction Center
is. I did not know that.
So that's where a lot of the weather nerds like to go to.
I feel like tornadoes are one of the reasons you got into being a meteorologist.
Yeah, more out of fear of tornadoes than becoming like, you know, I guess they're kind of cool, I guess.
Sure.
But let's get to our experiment, right?
Okay,
I feel like let's talk less about me, more about the experiment.
More about the experiment. But first we have to tell you what you need to do this experiment at home in case you want to follow along. So grab 2 plastic bottles. 2
plastic bottles.
What is this thing?
So that's a connector I found online, or my dad got it for me.
Okay.
And so I've seen them online before, and he got one for me because I was doing these projects.
And if you don't have that, you can use duct tape, right?
Just be very careful.
Because you might have some leaks.
You might have some leaks.
And then just for funsies,
glitter, food coloring, whatever you want to do. Maybe even put a little toy in there and see if that works out.
Oh, okay.
A penny. Now you're thinking, okay, what's the science behind this? And there's like, there really is more so than just the physics of how this works. Really, the thing is that, okay, we'll let Jaclyn.
I was going to say, hold on, I need to glitter and food coloring my.
Glitterify.
Also, I've got this little handy tray for us because I know several times we've had little situations.
Fire,
the glitter is going
water.
Fire, water, food coloring on the tablecloth.
We'll have to wind it at some
look
point.
at that. I love glitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate that it gets everywhere there. It's like safe.
Exactly. And then what do? I put this on the top?
So you can put the connector on there, or you can use duct tape, but you got to use a lot of duct tape to seal off those spots. So if you don't have the connectors that you can find online, again, that duct tape just got to keep putting the two together and make sure you're wrapping. And
I know you're itching to do yours, so I'll let you go first.
All right,
and then we'll do the glitter one.
Obviously, you're gonna have the water at the bottom, and you try with different bottles too. That's what I will say. These are with some those sparkling water, some carbonated water that I had, but you can try it with like different kinds of water,
like Coke, 2-liter bottles.
2-liter bottles, Coke bottles, whatever you want to try.
Pop bottles.
Pop bottles. I'm glad you call it pop and not soda. Oh.
All right, let's see what happens.
So this one's a little bit more stubborn, and try with different bottles because sometimes the bottles are better than others. Let's see if I can get it going.
Okay, so you give it a little squeeze on top and
usually with these are a little bit more flimsy.
Oh my goodness.
There you go.
It is making a legitimate tornado.
Now, the physics behind this is way different than the physics for, it's a whirlpool. It's not really a tornado.
That is so cool.
But it does give that look. And I know the kids at home will probably see it and they go, whoa, a tornado.
Okay, wait.
It's a great jumping off point to talk about tornadoes and tornado safety too, which we'll talk about later on in a couple weeks here when we get more into severe weather season. Yeah, these bottles are a little bit more squishy, but I think some of those other 2 liters are a little bit more concentrated.
How do you get it? Can you make mine a tornado?
There we go. Oh.
Ooh, I like it with the, and look at it looks like the debris.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's
like the debris.
And that's like what I have with my my pet tornado too. And you know, you spin it real quick, and a lot of it's using that kind of centrifugal force with the one I have at my pet tornado.
Right.
You spin it right there, and it's kind of the centrifugal force that it's causing it to go rotate, and eventually it stops. Not the same exact progress like with a real tornado, but again, this is a good jumping off point for those kids to kind of get interested in tornadoes, kind of like I did when I was a kid. There we go. And they can probably ask questions and kind of get into it and learn more about it.
Cool too. Look at how Look at how it looks at the bottom. So you get the tornado at the top, and then what would you call this? This is like as gravity is pulling
Gravity's
it down?
pulling it down. It's actually going from an area that has little water to more water to less water.
Right.
Using a little bit of the physics there for pressure, water and air pressure fluids.
Right.
Going from higher pressure to a lower pressure, but also gravity's doing a lot of the work too as well to kind of give it that spin. Again, I was talking about kind of using a little bit more of the centrifugal force.
Right.
Kind of make it spin a little bit, and that helps a little bit. Again, play around with it, see which ones work best for you. I know squeezing it's kind of helped a little bit too as well, but it's a cool little project. Like I said, the kids can play with it, have fun, get creative, and then it asks that question, well, how do tornadoes really work?
How do they form in the wild?
Exactly, in the wild. How do they form in the wild?
In nature.
In nature, yes. And so that's another good jumping point for how do they form in the wild? Ask those science questions.
Right.
Maybe a trip to the library is in order, just saying that's how I learned more about tornadoes when I was a kid, and also to learn about tornado safety, which again, we'll probably break that down a little bit more once we get into severe weather season. We're still in February though.
Right, well, thank you so much, Adam. I could do this all day. This is a really fun activity, really simple, very few ingredients. So if you want more information about this, you can visit us on the web. Also, if you try this at home, we would love to see your results. So post a video or a photo and tag us on social media.